Okay, in this little recording, I'm on the Ask the Pros webinar. This is Chase Swift. A lot of times I see people struggling with GetResponse. And Paul would tell you, I would tell you, this is the most powerful tool you can have. Names and email addresses in your autoresponder is by far the most powerful thing you can have. So to understand the autoresponder is even the best thing you can do. It really is important. So I am logging in here. It should come in there. There it goes. So this is the main page. You'll see this, okay? What you'll notice in the top right is campaigns. You can have multiple campaigns. You can have campaigns about MyPiP. You can have campaigns about the franchise. You can have campaigns about MyPiP Express. All of those, what a campaign means is a series of letters. And it's also a database of names and email addresses. Okay? So, I don't know if this graph and all this stuff doesn't mean a whole lot to me, honestly. But you can see I've had some subscribers recently. That doesn't matter to me. All I know is I want to keep adding more. Okay? And that's, I guess, this month, which is only about 12 days. Okay, so I get people signing up in both campaigns. But more to the point, you can have multiple campaigns. Each campaign can be a very separate series of email addresses and even a separate list of names and email addresses. Okay, that's the first thing you have to understand about this autoresponder. Okay, now when setting up, most people will probably, I'm guessing, would probably do the Express or the MyPiP. Okay, so I'll just show you MyPiP. Make sure you're in the right campaign, and you just choose it, and whatever campaign you click on is the campaign you're going to work in. Okay, so you have to pick the right campaign. I will stay in the Chase Swift MyPiP. The thing about the names is, not everyone can all have a campaign called MyPiP. They all have to be different. That's why Paul in the MyPiP back office, he says use your name in front of it, and he automatically tells you that. So that's why it has your name in it and then MyPiP. Okay? Because then it's a unique campaign. That's the way GetResponse works. Now, what are the problems people have because they don't fully log in and understand all this stuff because it's overwhelming? Well, I'm going to show you when you log in that you have an exact step-by-step. Okay, so when you first log in, okay, you have this menu of options, and setting up the automated follow-up system is your autoresponder. Okay, so you just click here. Okay, very simple. And there is a great video, okay, that covers 99.9% of what you need to know. I mean, some of you haven't gotten it, so that's why I'm giving a further clarification. But really, it's all in this video. Trust me, it really is. Okay? Down below are all the different options for the different emails. I should also point out that you want to make sure you want to be an affiliate of GetResponse, and that's your username right there. Okay? And there is two boxes. Just make sure they're both there. I don't know why there's two, but just make sure that they're both filled in with the same username. Notice that. Username. Not a link, not anything else, but a username. Okay? Not a number, a username. Don't mess up. You will miss out on tons of affiliate signups if you mess that up. Don't do it. Okay, make sure you know what your username is and put it right there. Okay, that's very important. It's extremely important. Okay, because you can promote GetResponse for free. It's a free thing to promote. Okay, now when I go down to the emails down here, let's just look at the classic MyPiP site. Okay, each one has a different series of emails because they highlight a different revenue funnel. Okay, these are revenue funnels: the MyPiP Classic, the Franchise, and the Express. Each one is different. So yes, you need to use each one if you want to promote each funnel. Now the franchise is only available to pro members. That's why if you don't know what it is, you're probably not a pro. Okay? Now, do not get confused and think you have to do all three. You don't. You can just pick whichever one you like. Okay? They're all fantastic. They all work, and they are very, well, they're proven. I mean, obviously, they're proven. Paul has written these. He's tested these. They work. Okay? So let's go here and let's look at these instructions, which are so simple. So what you'll notice is this is kind of like a recipe. Okay, it's like get in the kitchen, start the oven, get the flour out, all that type of stuff. This is a recipe. It works every time. Okay, now when you're cooking in the kitchen with a recipe, with a cookbook, do you put the cookbook in the garage and then come back to the kitchen and run back and forth? No, you don't. You put the cookbook right in the kitchen, right where you are. So just like that, you need to have tabs and understand what tabs are. Tabs are different websites, and you can just tab between them. Okay, just click on the tab as I'm doing over and over, and you can go back and forth. So read the instruction one at a time. Don't try to memorize all this and try to do 3 steps. Think you're Superman or Superwoman. You aren't. Not yet. You aren't. You will be. Trust me. Do things one at a time. Okay, so when it says get your get response account, if you haven't done that, click here to get it. Okay, so then you would use these tabs and go back and forth. Okay, so then step 2, log in to get response. Well, I've done that, haven't I? Okay, and then I'd be on step 3. As you can see, I can read through this. It's very easy. Now, it says click Create Campaign from your campaign manager. I'm not going to go through every step, but I'm going to point out there's a little picture, and you can kind of gain a sense that there's a menu here, and they're highlighting an area where it says Create Campaign. Well, when you go to the other tab, lo and behold, hallelujah, there it is. Wow, just like Paul said. So if you use tabs, you take this, I mean, even a teenager could do this, okay? It's not that hard, and I'm not trying to belittle anyone that's saying they can't do it. It's just because you've never probably understood tabs, and you get frustrated, and you're like, oh, I don't understand it, and you give up. Read steps one right after another. So when it says Create Campaign, do that, and just stop, and don't read on. So you go over to the other tab and you say click Create Campaign. Okay, and it takes you to that setup so that you can create that campaign. Okay, and there it is. Okay, then you stop and you go over to the next tab and you scroll down. Then it says name your campaign, and notice that I have the same look as what I see in Get Response. So this is a very accurate description. Okay, so now you're getting it, I'm sure. Okay, I can do that, Chase, and I can name it things. My recommendation is that you copy and paste everything you can do. Everything, copy and paste. So a lot of people don't know that you can double click a word on a web page. Did you know that? Double click, double click, double click, double click, double click. It highlights the word. How handy dandy is that? It's really handy dandy. You can just double click the word and then right click and choose copy. Again, double click the word, right click and choose copy. You make less mistakes if you copy and paste. Okay, so then you'd go to copy and then you go right over to tab number 2 and don't type it in, paste it in. So much accurate, so much more accurate. Okay, now I'm not going to make this campaign, I've already done it. Okay, so I'm just showing you how to do it. Now I'm going to take you to some of the problem areas. Some of the problem areas are this number, the 6 or 7 digit number, and where to put that and where to get it. Okay, well, if you go through this step by step read one instruction and then go do it in the tab, you're not going to have a problem. So the problem is under this web forms, and I'm just going to go there right now, is people don't understand, or they get in a panic. And as you can see, for my partner in profit, MyPiP, I have actually I have two because I was doing another training, but this is the top one that I did. You only need one. You only need one. And you can see I've had upwards of 297 people fill in that opt-in form, okay? And if you forget the number or you want to check it, okay, you want to check it. A lot of times you guys you've done it in a rush, or you're just not sure and you want to check it, or you could have your sponsor check it with you, like in a web room or over Skype sharing your screen. Okay, click on view source and it'll take you to the setting where you got that number. Okay, so it's loading here. It'll just come up in a second. There it goes. Okay, you're going to see that my number is 93870. Did you notice how I copied that? Remember? Double click. It'll even work on numbers. You just double click and it selects it. Don't try to use your mouse and get all over the place. You just drive I see this and I go, oh my goodness. Double click. Works every time. Double click. Okay? Double click. It'll highlight it. And then you can copy it. Okay? It's very easy when you do a right click on the selection. You can't do a double click and then move your mouse down here. Totally different menu. You've confused the computer. You can't do that. You have to double click on the number and then right click on the blue selection. You can't do it somewhere else. Okay, a computer's not that smart. Okay, but if you double click the word or the number, right click right on the blue, then you can choose copy. So simple. So simple. Okay, and then you go back over and look at that number that I have right there. That's the exact number. That's it. 99, if you get that, well, it's going to be 100% right. And most of you get that, but some of you don't. And so this is crucial. You got to get that number. What that really does is it ties your MyPiP splash page or your Express page or whatever, you know, this page, it ties it to GetResponse. Okay? So these boxes, the first name, the last name, and the email, those go to GetResponse, and it also becomes a new member, and it puts it in the database in your membership. So these boxes are where they fill out the autoresponder. Okay? So there is no way that my partner in profit can talk to GetResponse. Two different websites. The only way they can communicate to each other is with this number. Get it right. It's not that hard. It's one of the biggest problems I see. People don't know how to do that. Again, step by step, 2 tabs, and just go through this very carefully and you'll get it. Okay, now some of the other issues are the little gear and how to change the opt-in settings. We want them, remember, let's go back to this sign up page. We don't want them to have to go check their email for the email that comes from us automatically. We want to make it easy. We want them to sign in and get an email at the same time. It'll work. Let me say that again. They're going to sign up and get an autoresponder message at the same instant when they click submit. 2 things happen. They sign up for MyPiP Express and they get an email. Now how does that happen? You have to follow the settings and you have to go to the opt-in settings. And just like before, you follow it step by step. It says click the little gear beside your campaign. Make sure MyPiP Chase Swift is selected. That little gear is circled right there. I know it's tiny, but you can see it. It's pretty clear. Just make sure that you have that little gear right there. So you go over to I'm in the wrong area, but you go right there to that little gear, and you make sure you're right in the right campaign. Okay, it's so simple. Click on the gear, and you let it load. Wait, give it patience. Have a little patience, and then it'll load, and then you'll see this screen. You're like, oh my gosh, I do not know what to do. For crying out loud, going right back here, and you'll see the Optin tab. That's the step 2. Click the Optin tab, and it's right there. Okay, or you can see there's a red circle, so it must mean that there's something important right there. So you go back to get response. Remember, it's a tab, and you're like, oh, there's the Optin tab right there. So easy. You just click on that Optin tab, and it'll load. Okay, and I've already done this. Okay, I've already done this, but you make sure all 3 of these are unchecked. The most important one is web subscriptions. Why? This is a web subscription. They're on the web, and they are subscribing. They're joining and subscribing at the same time. Okay, they are joining MyPiP Express and getting on the autoresponder at the same time when they fill out those required fields. Okay, so we want to make sure that we uncheck all 3 of them, but the most important one is web. We don't get email subscriptions. That's another method, but all we do is just uncheck them all. The secret is just make sure the web subscriptions is unchecked, and I've already done that. And you can see back on the guide, it says boom, 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 3 little circles, and you deselect email subscriptions, and you're like, where's that? Right there, email subscriptions. Oh, you uncheck that, and I did. And you go back, and you're like, uncheck import subscriptions. Actually, you can't really, that's actually, you can't uncheck that one. We need to redo that. It should say web. That needs to say web. I'll tell Paul. That needs to say web. You can't uncheck import. And then the third one is panel subscriptions. Okay, panel subscriptions. We don't even use that, but rather than get you confused, we just say uncheck them all. Uncheck them all. Done. Make sure you go down to the bottom and click save, and it tells you that. Scroll to the bottom of the page and click save settings. See, it really is there. We just found one little error, which I'll tell Paul, and he'll fix that today, I'm sure. That should say web subscriptions. Okay, minor little issue. We'll fix that immediately. Okay, then the last problem, potentially, not everyone has this, only a few of you do, is you don't quite set up the letters. Okay, got to be really careful. Go to preload under the messages. Okay, so you're like, where is that? Well, there seems to be this little message menu, and at the bottom it says preload. So you go up here and you go under messages, and lo and behold, holy cow, look at that, preload right there. Okay, now some of you missed this next step. That's why I'm pointing it out. So when you go to preload, stop, relax, take a deep breath, and then read this part 2, change source account. Okay, and you click on that, and you're going to tell it, it's going to tell you to enter MyPiP master. And it's also going to tell you to select campaign. So when you see enter MyPiP master, don't try to type it in. You'll make a mistake. Double click it. Double click the word. Okay, it'll highlight it every time. Okay, you practice that. Double click. Double click. Double click. See how it works every time. Right click on the blue, the selected area. You're telling the computer that's what you want to copy, and then copy it. And then when you go back, you can do those steps, and you have to change the source account. Okay, and you don't use your account. Okay, it might be filled in that way. You again, you go back, enter MyPiP master as a campaign name. Follow the steps. I know you've never done this before, but you do it exactly what it says to do. It's really that hard. Not that hard. Okay, and then you have to change the login to campaign. Okay, because it tells you to do that. Okay, select campaign from the pull down menu next to login to. Okay, leave the password blank and then click login. That's kind of a tricky step. Okay, and I understand some of you don't understand that. Okay, but when you watch this, you'll see it. Now, part 4 is also another 4A. You need to make sure this campaign is selected. Okay, so you just go back and you're like, oh, there's MyPiP right there. That's what I needed to be selected. And then you just click login and it loads those letters. Now, I've already done this. I don't need to do it again. It's a little confusing because I've already done it. Okay, so those are the important steps. Okay, take your time. This is laid out perfectly, and when you follow it step by step and you have it in tabs, you can do this. It's like we're sitting here telling you what to do, and some of you are like, I don't understand. Just trust us. Read it as carefully as you can. If you have to read it 3 times or 10 times, it doesn't matter. Just keep doing it. Keep working at it. Look at the screen and then go back and read the instructions. Okay? So some of you get this and it's perfect. It's great. And as you see, as you come down to this bottom here, you'll be done. Okay? Now, let me just go back to this last one. When you get the messages, the emails, all you do is change your name. You change Paul's name to your name and change Paul's phone number to yours. Okay? Don't leave Paul's phone number in there. That's not going to work. All right? So when you get the emails, just change his name to yours and the phone number. Now you can put Skype and you can put your email as well, and you can put a webinar that you do, or a schedule that you do webinars, or whatever you want. You don't just have to put your name. Be helpful. Let them know that you are here to help them. All right? So I just wanted to really cover this and show you that this is not hard. Setting up your autoresponder is easy. And after you do it 2 or 3 times, because you have 2 or 3 campaign funnels, then you're like, oh, now I can teach other people how to do this. And you can use this video if you need be, okay, if you need to. And pretty soon you're going to become mastering your autoresponder, which is a skill that will make you a lot of money, because you're going to automate everything. Okay, that's why you want the autoresponder, is because it automates everything. Okay?